Oh, why hello there. Sometimes we forget that nature also means us. Termites build mountains, we build cities. All of our being, juices, flesh, and spirit, is nature.
In entitling ourselves to the basic privilege of a well-balanced meal, the luxury of a comfortable home, and the right to provide ourselves with entertainment for an escape from reality, we express a greater demand towards our own desires, envisioning meals with exotic tastes, legendary aromas, imagining the softest fabrics to ever embrace our touch, and yearning for anything to catch our attention. As the ones at the top of the food chain, the ones who have strived to have it all, it makes sense why we feel such entitlement, as we essentially dominated over our predators with innovations in technology over the ages. Our society delves on the fact that we are provided these things not as privilege, but as a basic right. However, the time will come where nature would need something from us after we have taken so much from it. The simple yet elegant termite colony builds mounds not only because it has taken advantage of nature's resources, but also nature allows it to do so, providing the very soil to serve as shelter for the termites. In return, the termites serve as prey for its own predators, and helps to keep the balance in nature.
We are giving back, yes, with movements to preserve and to save the environment, but the main issue isn't that our efforts are much too little. Rather, it's the fact that we are allowing ourselves to indulge too much in our own desires. Have we not realized how our actions could and would have consequences? Or are we concerned only with our gratitude, our pleasure, and our happiness? With the given logic, we have to realize that as our entire being, from our bodily fluids, the sins of our flesh, to the pureness of our spirit, is a part of nature itself. And in serving with ignorance, what neglect with nature comes around and bites us in the back. Just look at Australia, it's on bloody fire. Thus, adversity offers us a problem which we have yet to answer. What's stopping us from taking action? As Winters warns us that old industries will fall by the wayside. Should the world go green, invoking catastrophic poverty on those involved in industrial practices? We have yet to consider another kind of nature, the nature of human greed. Rather, the very concept of money comes from the mindset that one should receive after giving one something of value. The question we should be asking ourselves is not whether or not society would collapse if we attend to the needs of our own earth, but rather why society has been built on this very foundation of money from the get-go, and continues to promote this baseline until Friedman, in his book, expresses his biggest concern with the world's industry, which is that the convergence of hot, flat, and crowded areas are one of the greater factors in the world's deterioration, intensifying the extinction of plants and animals and accelerating climate change.
Should monetary matters take priority over our own lives, or should we take the proper note of the world around us and realize that money wouldn't matter if the world is turning into one big ball of fire? We may only have one life to worry about, but our very actions affect the lives of many others, where we inadvertently don't even give that chance to a number of potential lives. When thinking in the bigger picture, we have only one world to worry about, and only one chance to keep it habitable for as long as possible. In that sense, how can we keep utilizing methods which have built a legacy over the years, if those same trade practices contribute to the deterioration of the environment and, to an extension, imbalance in our relationship with the situation? How can we as individuals give back to nature as a whole?
To properly answer this question, we must consider conserving on a scale which would change our perspective of daily life largely, as even using our own form of transportation accounts for 60% of all US oil consumption, which emit carbon dioxide gas into the air, according to the US Department of Energy. As simply knowing about what we can do to be more conservative with our resources is different than understanding why. It is truly important to realize that with every action we do that helps the environment, we can slow down the rate at which the world deteriorates at. Where we might otherwise stand hopeless against a global threat, with small actions that decrease the need for industrial resources, we can buy time to allow ourselves to revert what we have done to the world, or at least stop climate change on a major scale. In the spirit of giving back to nature, we should instead express a desire for products which ask nature for less resources. Of course, Samuelson addresses that there's no problem with going green, and that the costs seem low, only because the models say so, and Winters brings up the notion that doing these actions eats up time for productivity, which would adversely affect the gross national product. With this logic in mind, what seems to be the better optimization of our time at which the current situation at hand time back in the future, instead of contributing to the inevitable loss of time already present with global warming. Choices have consequences, even we make the choice for sacrifice in order to preserve the world, that choice will be present.
Sometimes we forget that living on this earth, we are part of this mystical yet elegant aspect of life called nature. Just like how termite colonies build mounds and form a society among themselves, we industrialize, innovate, and build sky-high cities from the ground up. All that our mortal body is made of is a prime example of nature, and it's about time we gave back in our relationship with it.